Hey everyone, and welcome back. You know we love to go deep on this show,
Yeah.
and today we're going to be diving into something that might seem a little niche at first,
Yep.
but trust me,
Yeah.
it's way more fascinating and relevant than you might think.
I'm intrigued.
It's all about studio monitors.
Ooh.
You know those speakers you see in recording studios?
Yeah.
We're going to unpack what makes them special,
Okay.
how they differ from your regular hi-fi speakers,
Right.
and most importantly, what you should know if you're thinking about getting some for yourself.
Sounds good.
And to guide us on this journey, we're turning to a great resource,
All right.
an article called The Complete Guide to Studio Monitors
Okay.
by Darren B., a musician and composer who really knows his stuff.
Awesome.
So right off the bat, Darren makes this super clear distinction between studio monitors and hi-fi speakers.
Okay.
Like, what's the fundamental difference?
Yeah, it's all about the purpose, you
Yeah.
know? Hi-fi speakers are designed to make music sound good. They're kind of like, think of them as like,
Pleasant.
yeah, they want to please your ears.
Yeah.
So they might boost certain frequencies or add a bit of warmth,
Right?
you know, just to enhance the listening experience.
Make it sound better.
Exactly. But studio monitors, on the other hand, they're all about accuracy.
So they're more like analytical?
Yeah, they aim for that raw, uncolored sound.
Interesting.
Like they're trying to reproduce the sound as faithfully as possible without any sort of,
embellishment.
yeah, embellishment, coloration.
No sugarcoating.
Exactly. No sugarcoating.
So it's like studio monitors are the brutally honest friend
Yeah.
who tells you exactly what you need to hear,
True.
warts and all.
Warts and all.
While hi-fi speakers are more like that friend who always compliments your outfit,
Yeah.
even if you look like a total fashion disaster.
That's a great analogy. And you know,
That makes sense.
in the world of music production, that honesty is
Yeah.
absolutely crucial.
Like essential.
Yeah.
You need to hear the truth.
Imagine you're mixing a track, right?
Hey.
And your speakers are exaggerating the bass frequencies.
Okay.
So you're hearing this super boomy sound.
Right.
Now you might think, okay, let me reduce the bass in my mix to compensate.
Right.
But then when you play that same song on other systems,
Uh-oh.
it's going to sound weak and thin.
Problems.
Yeah, because you made decisions based on a distorted image of the sound.
It's like working with a funhouse mirror, right?
Exactly. You need a clear, uncolored reflection of the sound to make the right choices.
So studio monitors are like that trusted mirror.
Absolutely.
You need to see yourself clearly, flaws and all.
So you can make the necessary adjustments.
Okay, so accuracy is key. I get it.
Yeah,
But Darren doesn't stop there. He goes deep
of course.
into woofer size
Right.
and how it relates to room acoustics.
Yeah.
And this is where I was like, wait a minute. The size of my room matters for my speakers.
It's huge.
Really?
Huge.
Okay, so explain this to me.
It's a common misconception that, you know, bigger speakers
Oh, yeah.
always equal better sound.
Louder, better, more bass.
Right.
Give it to me.
But in reality, it's all about matching the speaker size to the room.
Okay.
If you cram a giant speaker into a tiny room, you're going to end up with a boomy, unbalanced sound.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So what's the ideal situation?
Well, Darren uses this analogy of a shoebox room.
The shoebox room. I love that.
It paints a pretty clear picture.
Yeah, because if you put a huge speaker in a shoebox,
Right.
it's going to be
It's just going to be chaos.
a mess. Yeah.
Too much sound bouncing around.
Can you just, like, adjust the volume to make it work?
Oh, well, it's more than just volume.
Okay.
We need to talk about standing waves.
Standing waves? Is that like when I sing in the shower and certain notes sound louder?
Exactly. It's the same principle. Basically, you have sound waves bouncing back and forth between those parallel surfaces in the room.
Walls, the floor, the ceiling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And depending on the dimensions of the room and the frequency of the sound,
Okay.
these standing waves can either amplify certain frequencies or cancel them out.
So it's like the room itself is messing with the sound.
Yeah, it's adding its own flavor, which isn't always a good thing.
No, definitely not what we want in this studio.
No.
Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we choose the right riffer size?
Well, luckily, Darren provides this handy chart in his article
Oh, perfect.
that connects room size to the recommended woofer size.
Okay.
So, for example, for smaller rooms, like around 5 by 5 feet,
Tiny little room.
yeah, he suggests the Genelec 8010A,
Got it.
while for larger spaces around 12 by 12 feet, the 8030C would be a better fit.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot where the speaker's output complements the room's acoustics.
Absolutely. You want them to work together, not against each other.
Right.
And this is where things get even more interesting.
Well, lay it on me.
Because when we talk about bass and room size,
Yeah.
the question that inevitably pops up is subwoofers.
Subwoofers. the bass cannons.
Haha, yeah. Now tell me, in your mind, more bass is always better, right?
Oh, absolutely. Crank that bass up.
Oh, hold on there, cowboy.
Okay.
It's not always that simple. While subwoofers are amazing for adding that deep, rumbling low end.
Yeah, they make you feel the music.
Exactly. But they can also be overkill, especially in smaller rooms or home studios.
Too much of a good thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
They can create an uneven bass response and even make it harder to hear other frequencies clearly.
So it's like having this giant woofer that makes your whole room vibrate but muddies up the rest of the music.
It can certainly feel that way.
So what's the solution then?
Well, it depends on the type of music you're making.
Right.
If you're working with genres like dance or hip-hop,
Yeah.
where those low frequencies are essential, then a larger woofer might be a better starting point.
Okay.
But for other genres, smaller monitors might be perfectly adequate.
So start small and add later if you need to?
Yeah, exactly. And you can always add a subwoofer later if you find you need that extra low-end punch.
Got it. So it's not an all-or-nothing decision.
Nope.
And speaking of adding things later, Darren recommends sticking with the same brand for your monitors and subwoofer, right?
Yes. That's super important for compatibility.
Like it ensures they're designed to work together seamlessly.
Absolutely. You want them to play nice with each other.
So like using components from the same manufacturer, let's say Genelec, for example,
Yeah.
that often means they've been engineered to complement each other,
Right.
resulting in a more cohesive and balanced sound.
Exactly. You're creating a team, not a bunch of solo artists.
All right, so we've got room size figured out. We've tackled the bass.
Yeah.
What about placement?
Placement. This is where the magic really happens.
Darren keeps mentioning this equilateral triangle setup.
Yeah, that's the golden rule.
What is that, some secret audiophile code?
No, not a secret code, but definitely a key principle for accurate listening.
All right, break it down for me.
So picture this. You're sitting in your listening position,
Yeah.
and your two speakers and your head form the points of a triangle.
Okay.
An equilateral triangle, to be precise.
So each side of the triangle is the same length.
Exactly. And the speakers should be the same distance from each other as they are from you.
And what about the tweeters, those little guys?
Those are important.
What do they do?
They handle the high frequencies, the sparkly bits,
Go ahead.
and they should be positioned at ear level.
So basically, I'm in the sweet spot in the middle of this sonic triangle.
You got it. It's your own
Yeah.
personal concert hall.
And in this sweet spot,
Yeah,
everything sounds perfectly balanced.
precisely.
Yeah.
Because this setup helps ensure that the sound waves from both speakers reach your ears at the same time and with the same intensity, creating a more immersive and accurate listening experience.
Now I'm really starting to get it.
Good.
But hold on. What if I don't have a ton of space? Can I wall mount these studio monitors?
Wall mounting can definitely be a good option, especially if you're tight on space. But there are a few things to consider.
All right.
First off, you need sturdy brackets.
Makes sense.
You want to support the weight of those monitors
Right.
and prevent any unwanted vibrations.
So they're not rattling around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And ideally, you'd also want to consider some acoustic treatment behind the speakers.
Oh, so they're not bouncing sound off the wall.
Exactly. You want to minimize those reflections.
Got it.
So it's not as simple as just slapping them up on the wall.
Okay. Wall mounting, noted.
Yeah. Think it through.
So this is where I started to feel a little bit overwhelmed, I'll be honest.
I hear ya.
Because Darren starts throwing around terms like passive, powered, and active monitors.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, 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 slow down.
It can be a bit of a jungle,
Yeah, a lot of jargon.
but it's not as complicated as it sounds.
Okay, good.
Essentially, these terms refer to how the speakers are amplified.
Okay,
See, all speakers need an amplifier
right,
to power those drivers, to make them move and create sound.
right.
And there are different ways to do that.
Okay.
You remember those old school stereo systems
Oh, yeah.
with like the separate amplifier?
Big clunky things.
Yeah, and speakers.
Yeah.
That's similar to what Darren calls passive monitors.
Okay.
They need that external amplifier,
Some more equipment.
more cables.
More potential for things to go wrong.
Yeah, potentially more headaches.
Got it. So passive monitors, more complex setup.
Yeah, but what about powered monitors?
What are those?
These guys have the amplifier built right into the speaker cabinet.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah, it makes them more compact.
And user-friendly.
Exactly. Especially for home studios.
Okay, so that's one less component to worry about.
Exactly. Now, once the signal gets to the speaker,
Yeah.
it goes through a little something called a crossover.
Crossover, is it like a DJ thing?
Haha, not exactly.
Okay.
The crossover splits the audio signal into different frequency bands,
Okay.
sending the low frequencies to the woofer.
The bass.
Yes. and the high frequencies to the tweeter.
Oh, so it's like a traffic cop directing the different frequencies to the right drivers.
That's a great way to put it. A very organized traffic cop.
Makes sense. Keep things flowing smoothly.
Exactly. Now, active monitors.
Is the where it gets fancy.
Yeah, they take things a step further.
Okay.
Instead of one amplifier powering the entire speaker,
Yeah.
they have separate amplifiers for each driver.
Oh, wow. So each driver gets its own personal power boost.
You could say that. It allows for more precise control over each driver.
And what may be?
Potentially a more accurate and detailed sound.
And probably more expensive.
Yeah, usually comes with a higher price tag.
So for most home studio setups, powered monitors seem like a good balance.
Yeah.
Simplicity, quality, affordability.
Generally, yes.
Good starting point.
Definitely. But Darren also talks about the number of drivers in a speaker.
Ooh, this is where things get really geeky.
Uh-huh. Yeah, strap in.
He mentioned speakers with up to 4 ward drivers.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why so many?
It's all about specialization. Each driver has a specific role to play.
Like a team.
Exactly.
Go on.
The woofer handles the low frequencies.
Bass.
Yes.
Mm.
The tweeter takes care of the highs.
Right.
And some speakers even have a dedicated mid-range driver.
Oh, what does that do?
That one handles the frequencies where most vocals and instruments live.
Interesting.
So it's like having a team of experts tackling different aspects of the sound.
Each one focusing on their specialty.
Exactly. And just like a well-coordinated team, dedicated drivers can result in a more balanced and detailed sound.
So it's not just about more drivers, it's about the right drivers for the job.
Precisely. And Darren gives this great example with vocals.
Okay.
If you have a dedicated mid-range driver, those vocals are going to sound clearer and more natural.
Why is that?
Because they're not competing with the bass or the highs for space in the same driver.
Oh, that makes sense. So they have their own dedicated space to shine.
Exactly. But remember, more drivers doesn't always mean better sound.
It depends.
It depends on your needs and your budget.
Right.
Sometimes a simpler design can be more effective.
So, like, what's an example of that?
Well, Darren mentions the Aventone Mix Cube.
Okay.
It's a single driver speaker.
So just one driver handling everything.
Yeah. But it's specifically designed to highlight those mid-range frequencies.
Interesting. So it's like a specialist in vocal clarity?
You could say that. It's like a magnifying glass for vocals. It lets you really hone in on that critical element of the mix.
Okay, that's cool.
And there's another layer to speaker design that we need to talk about.
Hit me with it.
Ported versus sealed box designs.
Wait, the box itself makes a difference.
Absolutely. I know. It's mind-blowing, right?
I just thought speakers came in boxes.
It's more than just a container.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So the design of the cabinet plays a huge role in how the speaker interacts with the air around it.
Okay.
So you've got ported boxes. These have a hole or a port that allows some of the sound waves from behind the woofer to escape.
So it's like letting the bass breathe.
Yeah. In a way, yes. That extra air movement can enhance the bass response.
So it sounds louder and fuller.
Exactly. But here's the catch. Cheaper ported monitors can sometimes have issues where the port's resonance frequency starts interfering with the accuracy of the bass.
Oh, so it's adding its own unwanted sound.
It's like the port is adding its own note to the music.
Not good.
Not good at all. Which brings us to sealed boxes.
All right, sealed boxes. What's their deal?
They don't have that port.
Okay.
So the sound waves from behind the woofer are more contained.
More controlled.
Yeah. This usually results in a tighter, more controlled bass response.
Okay.
But it might not have that same oomph as a ported design.
So it's a trade-off.
Yeah, power versus precision.
Got it.
Darren mentions the Yamaha NS10.
Okay.
It's a classic example of a well-regarded sealed box design.
And what's it known for?
A neutral sound, accurate bass reproduction, but it doesn't have that booming low end that some people might crave.
So it's all about finding the right tool for the job.
Exactly. And understanding the trade-offs.
Okay, so we've covered woofer size, placement, even the boxes themselves.
Yeah.
What else do we need to know before we dive into the world of studio monitors?
Well, there's one more thing, and it's a big one.
I'm ready. Hit me.
DSP.
DSP.
Digital signal processing.
All right, I'm intrigued.
It's like the secret sauce.
Ooh, tell me more.
So Darren describes it as this almost magical element within speakers.
Okay.
But it's actually incredibly sophisticated.
Right.
Essentially, DSP allows the speaker to analyze and adjust the audio signal in real time.
So it's like a mini sound engineer living inside the speaker.
Exactly. It's constantly making micro adjustments to optimize the sound for your specific room.
So it's like a personalized sound experience tailored to my space.
You got it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing technology.
Okay, so what are the main benefits of this DSP magic?
Well, one of the key benefits is driver alignment.
Okay.
So remember how we talked about those different drivers?
Yeah, the woofers, tweeters, all that jazz.
Exactly. Well, DSP can ensure that the sound waves from each driver are reaching your ears at the same time.
Okay.
This creates a more cohesive soundstage.
Soundstage, what's that?
Imagine you're listening to a band.
Okay.
Each instrument is positioned in a specific spot on the stage.
Right.
A good soundstage replicates that same spatial arrangement.
So you can hear the instruments as if they were in front of you.
Exactly. You can pinpoint where each sound is coming from.
Oh, that is cool.
And if the sound waves from the different drivers aren't aligned,
Then what happens?
you get this muddled, disjointed sound.
Like things are out of sync.
Exactly.
Okay, so DSP helps with that.
Yeah, it keeps everything in check.
What else can it do?
Another benefit is crossover point correction.
Oh, right, the sonic traffic cop.
Exactly. Now, DSP can fine-tune those crossover points, ensuring a smoother transition between the lows, mids, and highs.
It's like smoothing out the rough edges of the sound.
Absolutely. Creating a more seamless and natural sound.
Okay, that makes sense.
And here's the really impressive part.
Oh, that, honey.
Some DSP-equipped monitors come with software.
Software?
Yeah, you connect the speaker to your computer,
Right.
and this software can actually analyze your room's acoustics.
Oh, wow. So it's like giving my room a virtual sound check.
Exactly. Based on this analysis, the software creates a custom EQ curve.
EQ, equalizer.
Exactly. And this EQ curve counteracts those problematic standing waves.
So it's like a virtual acoustic treatment.
You got it. It's a really powerful tool, especially if you're working in a less than ideal listening environment.
Okay, so DSP is definitely something to look for.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
So with all this in mind, is there anything else practical I should consider?
Well, Darren briefly mentions cables.
Cables, really?
Yeah, it might seem like a minor detail, but using the right cables can actually have a big impact on sound quality.
I've always been a bit confused by cables.
I hear ya, there's a lot of jargon out there.
So what's the key takeaway for studio monitors?
You generally want to go with XLR or balanced 14-inch cables.
They're less susceptible to noise and interference.
So they provide a cleaner signal.
Exactly. Think of it like providing a clear and protected pathway for your audio signal.
Got it.
Now, the other type of cable you might see is an unbalanced 14-inch cable.
Okay.
Those are the ones you might use for a guitar or keyboard.
Right.
But they're more likely to pick up hum and other unwanted sounds, especially over longer distances.
So it's all about minimizing distractions and ensuring the purest possible signal.
Exactly. You want to hear the music without any added noise.
And speaking of creating the best possible listening environment, we have to talk about room acoustics again.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
Because Darren emphasizes this point.
Yeah.
He says that even the most expensive, high-end studio monitors will sound terrible in a poorly treated room.
It's like trying to create a masterpiece on a dirty canvas.
You need a good foundation.
Exactly.
So even if I get the best speakers in the world, if my room is a mess, sonically speaking,
it's all going to go to waste. So I should invest in some acoustic treatment.
It's one of the best things you can do for your sound.
Okay, so what kind of things should I be looking at?
Well, even simple things can make a big difference.
Like what?
Adding a rug to absorb sound reflections.
Okay.
Hanging curtains to soften hard surfaces. Or even strategically placing some bookshelves.
Interesting.
They can all help to create a more balanced and enjoyable listening experience.
Okay, so it's not about spending a fortune. It's about being smart with your setup.
Absolutely.
But before I go full-on acoustic makeover, there's one more thing.
Okay.
Darren says you have to actually listen to monitors before buying them.
He's absolutely right. You wouldn't buy a car without test driving it, would you?
No way.
It's the same with studio monitors.
Okay, so don't just order online based on specs and reviews.
Nope. You need to hear them with your own ears.
And what's the best way to do that?
Well, Darren suggests taking some familiar reference tracks with you to the store.
Songs I know really well.
Exactly. So you can compare how different monitors reproduce those sounds.
Because what sounds good isn't always what's most accurate.
Exactly. Some monitors might have a hyped-up bass response that sounds impressive at first.
Yeah.
But it can be fatiguing over time.
Ready.
And might not translate well to other systems.
Makes sense.
So you need to find the monitor that aligns with your ears, your preferences, and the type of music you're working with.
It's like a quest for your sonic soulmate.
Haha, yeah. A speaker that speaks to your soul.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Let's take a step back and recap the key insights we've gleaned from Darren's complete guide to studio monitors.
All right, let's do it.
So we started by understanding the core difference between studio monitors and hi-fi speakers.
Yeah, accuracy versus enjoyment.
Got it.
One is for critical listening, the other is for pure pleasure.
Right, and then we dove into the world of woofers,
Woofers.
discovering how important it is to choose the right size for your room, and considering those pesky standing waves and the style of music you'll be working with.
Absolutely. You don't want your room fighting against your speakers.
And then there's the whole speaker placement thing.
Yeah, getting that equilateral triangle set up just right.
Right, making sure those tweeters are at ear level.
It makes a huge difference.
And who could forget the epic battle between ported and sealed box designs?
Each one brings its own character to the bass response.
And then we explored DSP, that incredible technology that can analyze your room and fine-tune the sound.
Yeah, it's like having a personal sound engineer built into your speakers.
We talked about cables, those seemingly insignificant but actually quite important connectors.
You don't want your cables holding back your sound.
And of course, we emphasized the importance of room acoustics.
The foundation of a good listening experience.
And how even the best studio monitors can be let down by a poorly treated space.
It's true.
So after this deep dive, what stands out to you? What were some of the aha moments or surprises?
For me, it's the realization that creating a truly accurate and enjoyable listening experience involves this delicate dance between all these different factors.
Yeah, it's not just about the speakers themselves. It's about the room, the placement, the treatment, and even your own personal preferences.
It's a whole ecosystem.
And all those pieces have to work together.
Exactly, like a well-oiled machine.
What about you? What surprised you the most?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that I've been taking sound for granted. I mean, I love listening to music.
Yeah.
But I never really stopped to think about all the elements that go into creating that experience.
It's easy to overlook.
Right.
We're so bombarded with sound all the time that we forget to actually listen.
But when we do slow down and pay attention and really start to break down the different components that contribute to the sonic tapestry, it's like a whole new world opens up.
It really does.
It's like you're hearing things for the first time. Exactly. And that brings us to a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
All right. What is it?
Now that we've explored the complexities of studio monitors and gained a deeper understanding of how sound works, maybe it's time to turn our attention to the spaces where we experience music every day.
Our homes, our cars.
Yeah, exactly. Those everyday spaces often get overlooked when it comes to sonic quality.
Because we're so used to them.
Right. But why not bring a little bit of that studio magic into those environments?
I love that idea.
So listeners, I challenge you to take a moment and really listen to the sound in your favorite spaces.
Really pay attention.
Do you notice any issues with the bass frequencies in your living room? Does the sound feel a bit muffled or unclear in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Could those spaces benefit from a little acoustic TLC?
Like what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, even small changes can make a big difference.
Give me some examples.
Adding a rug to absorb sound reflections.
Okay.
Hanging curtains to soften those hard surfaces. Or even just rearranging some furniture.
Interesting.
All of these can contribute to a more balanced and enjoyable listening experience.
So we can all become sonic explorers.
Exactly.
Armed with the knowledge to transform our everyday spaces.
Into sonic sanctuaries.
I like that.
And who knows, maybe this exploration will spark a lifelong passion for sound.
Yeah.
And inspire you to delve even deeper into the fascinating world of acoustics.
Well, this deep dive has definitely opened my ears to a whole new way of listening.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm excited to continue the sonic adventure
Me too.
and see what other discoveries await.
There's a whole world of sound out there waiting to be explored.
I can't wait. Okay, I'm starting to see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Oh yeah, we're just scratching the surface.
Woofers and tweeters and boxes, oh my.
There's a lot to unpack.
But I'm feeling more confident now.
Good.
So what's next on our sonic adventure?
Well, Darren talks about a technology that's becoming increasingly common in studio monitors.
Okay.
It's called DSP. It stands for Digital Signal Processing.
Sounds complicated.
It might sound intimidating,
Yeah.
but it's actually pretty amazing.
All right, break it down for me.
So remember how we talked about those pesky standing waves?
Oh, yeah, the ones that mess with the sound in my room.
Exactly. Well, DSP can help with that.
Really?
Yeah, some studio monitors have built-in DSP.
Okay.
And it allows them to analyze your room and make adjustments to the sound.
So it's like having a sound engineer inside the speaker.
Yeah. It's like a tiny little sound wizard tweaking things behind the scenes.
Okay, so how does it actually work?
Essentially, the speaker sends out test tones.
Like little beeps and boops?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And then it measures how those tones bounce back from the walls and furniture in your room.
So it's like the speaker is mapping out my room acoustically?
Exactly. And based on that information,
Yeah.
the DSP can adjust the speaker's output.
To compensate for any problems it finds.
Exactly. It can smooth out those bass frequencies.
That are getting amplified or canceled out by the standing waves.
Right. It can also adjust the timing of the different drivers.
Oh, right, the woofers and tweeters.
Yeah, to make sure the sound waves are reaching your ears at the same time.
So it's all about creating a more accurate and balanced sound.
Exactly. It's like giving your room a virtual acoustic treatment.
That's pretty amazing.
It is. And the best part is, you don't have to be an audio engineer to use it.
So even a newbie like me can benefit from DSP.
Absolutely. Most DSP-equipped monitors are super user-friendly.
Oh, good.
They have simple controls or even apps that guide you through the setup process.
So I don't have to worry about messing things up.
Nope. It's pretty much plug and play.
Okay, so DSP is definitely something I'm going to look for when choosing my studio monitors.
Good choice. It's a game changer, especially for home studios.
All right. What else should I be thinking about?
Well, Darren also mentioned something that a lot of people overlook.
What's that?
Cables.
Cables. Really?
Yeah, I know it sounds boring.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting topic.
But trust me, it matters.
Okay, why?
Because the wrong cables can actually degrade your sound quality.
I never would have thought about that.
It's like having a pristine water source, but then using a rusty pipe to deliver it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to end up with contaminated water.
Right.
It's the same with audio signals.
So what kind of cables should I be using?
For studio monitors, you generally want to go with XLR or balanced TRS cables.
TRS, what's that?
It stands for tip ring sleeve.
Okay.
It's basically a type of 14-inch connector that has 3 conductors instead of 2.
And why is that better?
Because it helps to cancel out noise and interference.
Oh, so I get a cleaner signal.
Exactly. It's like having a noise-canceling headphone for your audio cables.
Okay, that makes sense.
The other type of cable you might see is an unbalanced TS cable.
TS.
Yeah, tip sleeve. It only has 2 conductors.
Okay.
And it's more susceptible to picking up noise.
Like hums and buzzes.
Exactly, especially over longer distances.
So for studio monitors, stick with XLR or balanced TRS.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Got it. Cables. Check.
All right, we're making progress.
What else is there?
Well, Darren keeps coming back to this one point.
Okay.
And it's something we've touched on already.
Hit me with it.
Room acoustics.
Right.
He really hammers this home
Yeah.
because it's that important.
Okay, remind me why it's so crucial.
Even if you have the best studio monitors in the world,
Yeah.
if your room has bad acoustics,
The sound is going to suffer.
it's going to sound terrible.
So what can I do to improve the acoustics in my room?
Well, there are a lot of options.
Like what?
You can add acoustic panels to the walls,
Oh.
bass straps in the corners.
Bass traps? What are those?
They're designed to absorb those low-frequency sound waves.
The ones that cause the booming sound.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can also use diffusers.
Diffusers.
Yeah, they scatter the sound waves
Okay.
to create a more even sound field.
So it's not just about absorbing sound, it's also about spreading it out.
Exactly. It's all about creating a balanced listening environment.
So do I need to turn my room into a professional recording studio?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
You don't need to go overboard.
Okay.
Even small changes can make a big difference.
Like what?
Adding a rug to the floor,
Okay.
hanging curtains over the windows, or even just placing some bookshelves against the wall.
Interesting. So I can use everyday items to improve the acoustics?
Absolutely. It's all about being creative and experimenting.
So it's not about spending a fortune, it's about being smart with your setup.
Exactly. And the best part is you can have fun with it.
Okay, that sounds less intimidating.
Yeah, turn it into a DIY project.
All right, so room acoustics are crucial. Got it. What else?
Well, Darren has one final piece of advice,
Okay, I'm all ears.
and it's probably the most important one.
All right, lay it on me.
Don't buy studio monitors without listening to them first.
Wait, really?
Seriously.
Oh,
I know it's tempting to just order online.
yeah, based on reviews and specs and all that.
Yeah, but every speaker has its own unique sound signature.
Okay.
What sounds good on paper
Yeah.
might not sound good to your ears.
So I need to actually go to a store and listen to them.
Exactly.
What's the best way to do that?
Well, bring some music that you know really well.
Okay, like my favorite albums.
Yeah, exactly. And listen to them on different monitors.
Okay.
Pay attention to how they sound.
Like, what should I be listening for?
Well, do they sound balanced?
Okay.
Are the highs clear and detailed?
Mm,
Is the bass tight and punchy?
got it.
Does the overall soundstage feel wide and spacious?
Okay, so I'm basically looking for a speaker that I connect with emotionally.
Yeah. You want a speaker that makes you feel something.
It's like finding your sonic soulmate.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to need to set aside some time for this speaker audition process.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Trust me, you won't regret it.
Okay, I'm convinced.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that covers pretty much everything from Darren's guide, right?
Yeah, we've hit all the major points.
We've come a long way from thinking that speakers are just boxes that make noise.
Uh-huh. That's for sure.
So what are the biggest takeaways for you?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is realizing how much science goes into creating a good listening experience.
Yeah, it's not just about turning the volume up.
Exactly. There's so much more to it than that.
And what about you? What are your main takeaways?
Honestly, I'm just amazed by how much I didn't know about studio monitors. I
Yeah.
always thought they were just for professional recording studios.
Yeah, a lot of people think that.
But now I realize they can be a valuable tool for anyone who loves music.
Absolutely. Whether you're a musician, a producer, or just a casual listener.
And I think that's a perfect segue into a final thought for our listeners.
Okay.
Now that we've explored the world of studio monitors
Mm-hmm.
and gained a deeper understanding of sound,
Yeah.
I think it's time to turn our attention to the spaces where we experience music every day.
Our homes, our cars.
Exactly. Those everyday spaces often get overlooked when it comes to sonic quality. It's true, we tend to focus on the music itself,
Right.
but the environment plays a huge role in how we perceive that music.
So what are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we all become a little more mindful of the sound in our everyday lives.
Okay, I like that.
Take a moment to really listen to the spaces around you. Notice the acoustics.
Yeah.
Are there any areas where the sound could be improved?
Like, maybe my living room is too echoey,
Exactly.
or my bedroom is too muffled.
Yeah.
So how do I fix those problems?
Well, there are lots of simple things you can do.
Like what?
You can add some rugs or carpets to absorb sound,
Okay.
hang some curtains to soften those hard surfaces, or even just rearrange some furniture.
Interesting.
It's all about experimenting and finding what works best for your space.
So it's not about turning my home into a recording studio.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's just about creating a more enjoyable listening experience.
And that's something we can all do.
Absolutely.
I'm already thinking about how I can tweak my own space.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm feeling inspired to become a sonic explorer.
That's the spirit. And remember,
Yeah.
even small changes can make a big difference.
Okay, I'm ready to start my sonic adventure.
Awesome. And I can't wait to hear about your discoveries.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah,
I'm already making a list.
that's awesome.
This deep dive has really opened my ears to a whole new world.
It's amazing how much we miss when we just listen passively.
Right.
Once you start actively listening and paying attention to the details,
Yeah,
it's like you're hearing music for the first time.
it's true.
So Darren's guide has really given us a framework for understanding how to create a better listening experience.
Absolutely. It's like he's given us the keys to the sonic kingdom.
And now it's up to us to go out and explore.
I'm ready for the adventure.
Me too.
Oh,
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
whether you're a seasoned audiophile or just starting to appreciate the nuances of sound,
yeah.
keep
Yeah.
experimenting, keep listening.
And keep those ears open.
Exactly, because there's a whole world of sound out there waiting to be discovered.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time, happy listening, everyone.
Happy listening.